All right, guys, let's see what Kenny Wayne Shepherd brought us. We'll stand in the middle of the two cars he brought down. We'll now start with the one you took on the Power Tour?
Yeah. This one's done the Power Tour, actually. This was the third year I've taken this one on the Power Tour. So this is a 1970 Plymouth Duster. I got it from a guy here in Burbank that bought it from the original owner. Mm-hmm. The owner bought it brand new, had it until he died in the mid-90s. You know, kept a log of every time he filled up with gas and how much gas. And
I love those people. Yeah. I had a friend who did that. Actually, he had a Dodge Fury, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Plymouth Fury. He did the log thing every time, and I would always go, Rudy, who the fuck cares? So it gets 8 miles or 12 miles. I'm like, what do you do with this thing at the end? You know, it wasn't like he was running a business, and he just wrote it in a thing.
Yep,
it's a obsessive.
All right, but let me just tell you, people. Here's what happens. You keep that logbook your entire life, and then you die, and your wife or your son pulls out of the glove box, and they go, hey. Throw in the garbage, light a cigarette, and walk away. That's what life is. You understand? Don't bother with that shit. All right, so you got the guy from the old man, got the car from the old man who took the notes.
Yeah, it was all, it was a California car its whole life, so there was no rust,
right,
which is a big plus. I drove it for a couple weeks as it was. The paint was faded, had the dark green paint that a lot of guys hate on cars from the 70s.
Right.
It was original numbers matching 340 Duster, highly optioned car, AC, automatic transmission. I drove it for like 2 weeks. It was very kind of incognito because a lot of my cars are real flashy and like nobody even paid any attention to this car, right?
Nice.
So that was cool. But then the motor spun a bearing and I was going like up a hill and I could hear this ticking noise and then all of a sudden it was like blah, 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 and the car it just died, man. So we had to pull the motor and rebuild it, and then I was like, well, it's got to be painted, so it's not all original anymore. So I decided to have some fun with it. So I put a Mopar Performance Crate 406 motor in it, which is really a 360 block that they stroked and bored out to 406 cubic inches, 475 horsepower at the flywheel.
Yeah.
We put a Bowler GM 4L60E overdrive transmission. We did a custom thing where we put the Mopar bell housing on it and the rear end of a 727 Mopar transmission so it would work. So I got an overdrive transmission.
I like the wedge. I like the wedge for not only an engine but a salad. It's a good salad.
Yeah,
like a wedge of lettuce.
Well, blue cheese and
I think the wedge name probably in engines probably second only to the Rat. I don't know why. Rat just nudges out. It just got past wedge in terms of cool.
They used to have one that was called the Max Wedge.
Yeah, I like the Max Wedge.
It was better than the Wedge. It was more than.
But is the Max Wedge a better name than the Rat?
Nothing's better than the Rat. Ratero, for those that speak it.
Yeah, so we got the 406 Wedge. Rear end, did we get to the rear end yet?
No, we just rebuilt the stock rear end. I think it's an 8 3/4 rear end. It's got 355 gears on it, which is good with the overdrive. Yeah, I can do like, 75 miles an hour on the freeway, turning like 2,300 RPM.
Oh, yeah.
So I came up with the color scheme of the car.
Yeah, I love it.
Months of deliberating, this is what I chose. I wanted to keep the green color on the car, but I chose a different color green. Did the two-tone, and then I had this idea for this hood treatment, and I called my buddy Chip Foose, and I said, hey man, here's my idea. And he goes, well, hey man, you mind if I change it up a little bit? And I said, dude, you can do whatever you want.
This looks like, is that hand painted on there?
It's paint, yeah, he painted it. Well, everybody comes up and wants to touch it because they think it's a decal.
Right.
But it's paint.
Oh, that's under the clear coat.
It's under the clear coat.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. But you'd be amazed at how many guys come up to me at car shows.
Hey, where'd you get that sticker, dude?
No, they're like, hey man, what kind of motor you got in that thing?
Oh yeah,
and
they're staring at the 406 Wedge. Yeah.
So we got, and then Foose did the wheels, man. I think these are, timeless looking wheels that he's got here. And we got big, brakes, year one, and SSBC did the brakes year one, put the car together and everything. And, the interior was in such great condition that I didn't want to change it.
Yeah.
Or what I did change, I kept very minimal. So, you know how the cars back in the 60s and 70s, they had no lateral support.
It's just, you slide right off the seat.
Yeah, you slide into the passenger side.
Well,
when you
half time they give you a bench.
Yes. And so we put some new,
bolsters
seats
in there.
But we upholstered them to match
old
the
style.
original back seat. So it looks like it could be stock.
And it's got like a stock mirror on it,
Yeah.
stock dash, the gauges, the
Yeah,
door
Still pretty
panels.
unassuming, you know.
I
But
like that.
because
Yeah.
I'm a musician, dude, I got to have good tunes in my car. So
Sure.
Kicker Audio took my car, and I said, look, you know, you can do whatever you want, but I'm not like going to be entering any bass competitions. So
Sure.
I wanted to keep with whatever you do, keep with the theme of the car and make it sound great. And so they took the shape of the original center console and they built a new one with a cup holder, because none of these cars had cup
Sure.
holders. We put a nav system in it. They made some custom kick panels and a rear package tray, and they built this Chrysler Pentastar up in the back of the window there.
Get the marquee
looks
going.
great,
And then
yeah.
they did this really awesome, stereo system in the trunk, which I think is a really awesome showpiece.
Wow.
man. You know, with the full size spare Foose wheel and their amps and everything. So, and it sounds as good as it looks. I think it's one of the most tastefully done sound systems that I've seen in a car.
Well, let's take a look at the engine and then have
Yeah,
you
sure.
fire it up.
Right
too.
on.
Yeah, looks great. Yeah, I guess you gotta. What do you do with the tail lights here?
Well, these are stock, man.
Is that stock?
Yeah, those are stock. I'm actually working.
Sandy,
with-
why does it look so good?
I think it's the paint scheme kind of hides them
break-
out, the blacked out.
Yeah, it looks like something was done to the what these guys always
It's
do.
missing maybe the logos. You take the emblem off the back or something.
Well, no, there was no emblem on the back.
So it looks like
except
it's
there was
missing.
a-
It is
It
missing.
feels
like
so clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the bumpers, nothing been shaved down.
No.
or
it's
anything?
missing
No.
the dust cloud. That's
Yeah, but that's a
The
decal.
exhaust. That can't be stock.
Well, for original California cars in 1970, they were already becoming aware of emissions issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so for all the California cars, they had turned down exhausts. But we put the chrome plated tips on the back here.
Right, I gotta say, for a stock rear end, I mean, most of the guys who bring the cars in here that do the pro touring and all that kind of stuff, what they do if they do a nice job on a car is they take the stock stuff and they make it look stock. It just looks better. It's just like a
You don't
chick
know-
who's got her makeup on and her hair done. Like, you don't notice, but they did
Yeah.
something. And
Yep.
then when you start talking, they're like, oh, we took the bumper and we brought it in 3 inches
Yeah.
and we shaved off the whatever and we took the bezels that were around the this and that. And you go, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's what this looks like,
Yeah.
except for you didn't do anything.
No, it's stock, totally stock.
I
Unbelievable.
think the color just blends it.
You know,
Yeah.
we didn't do anything like that to this car. We wanted to keep it as original as possible.
Well,
as
you
far
didn't
as
need
body
to,
work
I
goes.
guess, on this.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the engine. And what is this, a kind of anthracite black?
I just wanted a charcoal gray with some metallic in it. And I chose a light enough green because my concept is that when the sun hits it hard enough, the top actually looks black and the bottom actually looks silver in the right,
Right.
sunlight.
Right.
But then when the sun's not directly on it, it's dark gray and green. So.
Yeah, the hood, the Forsyth wedge really sets it off.
So this is not the most sanitary engine bay. This is just an all-purpose engine bay. It's got, we didn't hide all the wiring. We've done that in other cars, but
Driver though.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a driver. It's a driver / show car, but this is not, we didn't want to make this like a big sanitary project. We just wanted to keep it as real as possible. This is the kind of engine bay that your everyday garage mechanic can look at and understand what's going on in here.
And you got to work on it on the road on occasion, and you
Yeah.
want to be able to get to things. You want to pull off big fiberglass
Yeah.
cowlings to get to your spark plug wires. It's weird. I'm looking at a moth that's stuck to the front of the radiator, a heat exchange. I don't know what we call them anymore. Point is, I wonder where that moth came from. I mean, that thing
Atlanta.
could be from 5,000 miles away from
Yeah.
here. I mean, God knows. So, crate motor,
Yep.
got the air conditioning, because seriously, if you're going to go out on a power tour, you have
Yep.
to do it. Headers look, were those?
These are
Done up?
not stock. No, these are headers made by TTI, and they're made specifically for this block. And what we did is we used some aftermarket stuff. I mean, this AC compressor, for example, Bouchelon Performance sent us this, and we made it work with the existing AC controls and
Oh, really?
outlets inside
That's
the car.
nice.
Instead of putting like, a complete new setup.
Right,
in it.
right, right.
And another thing we did, which I think I totally recommend on all these old cars, instead of using one of those vacuum brake boosters, man, I go with the Hydro Boost setup. And this is what is used in a lot of modern cars today. And what it does is it actually runs off your power steering fluid and your power steering pump. But dude,
Gets
you
rid
hit
of the giant brake booster too.
Yeah, man. And plus it enables you, if you have a motor that you want to put a real hot cam in it, your motor, the vacuum that your motor's producing isn't dictating how much brake pressure you've got.
I think
Right.
I think somebody's making one of these now that's like electric driven hydraulic, and it's really compact but it's crazy money. But that's neat because the one thing that like all cars always have that stupid vacuum assist thing that's in the way of your headers, can't take your valve covers off. It's just
And it just looks like a big, huge walk.
Yeah.
It's stuck on the side of your firewall. Yeah, I was just staring at that thing going, where's that massive vacuum cylinder?
Well, it stops like a modern car so you can hang with the modern cars in traffic,
Right.
I mean, back in the day when these cars were new, a lot of cars still had drum brakes and
Four-wheel
stuff.
drums.
So you needed like, 5 car links. It's just not to rear end the person in front of you. And in today's traffic out here especially, that doesn't
I know. It prevented you from being an asshole back then because you can't do what we all do now, which is somebody kind of cuts you off or is going too slow and you just ride up their ass.
Yeah.
Because I got an Audi with 4-wheel drive, it's got all-wheel drive and, anti-lock brakes, and I know I can just ride 3 feet behind someone and just mash that pedal. It's not like one bi-ply tire's going to lock up and the tread's going to roll off it and the drum's going to start smoking. No, you just know you can just be a dick now. And that's what this enabled Kenny Wayne Shepherd to do.
Right.
So, let's start it up, by the way,
Right on.
so we can hear it, because that's the important part. I'm looking at your Duster.
it's a Tasmanian devil.
The Tasmanian Devil. Is that a decal?
No, the whole
thing's painted too.
Yeah, Chip painted it. Actually, in 1971, the 340 Dusters had a decal that was put on the hood. It would say 340 wedge. It was a different design than this, but it was at an angle. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to put a big, huge Duster guy right here at an angle and put a small 406 wedge. But then Chip changed it up, and obviously what he came up with is better. And with the numbers being like this on the hood, it kind of goes back to the old school NASCAR.
Yeah, I was saying the little
looks
NASCAR,
great.
Yeah.
427, cubic inch, whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this car, as far as the exhaust goes, it's not too gnarly. It sounds great from behind, but when you're riding in the car, you can still talk to a person.
Yeah, it's practical.
Especially if you're going to be driving across country in this thing.
Yeah.
Stealthy. Nice.
One of the kind of hear the cam profile.
Oh, yeah.
One of the great things about this car and the small blocks is that they wind up real high. So I think what's redline in this car? Redline on this motor is 7,000 RPM. But
Really?
if you got a big block Chrysler, it's
Yeah.
like 55, 6,000.
Yeah.
Not even that much.
I like a V configuration. It winds up a little bit, and you got enough torque on some of those big displacement engines, or even you have enough torque on this engine that it's just funner to wind them up.
Yeah.
All right, car number 2 is yours as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is got the Hemi in it, the 6.1 Hemi we're talking about back inside the warehouse. What have you done to this baby?
Okay, so on this car, it's a 2010 Dodge Challenger SRT8. It's their top of the line model. It's got the 6.1 liter Hemi. From the factory, it has 425 horsepower, 420 foot-pounds of torque. Has the big Brembo brakes, with like 13 or 14 inch slotted rotors up front and big ones in the back as well. From the factory, this car, I think they did a great job. Designing it. Out of the new pony cars, the new Mustang, the Camaro, and the Challenger, I think as far as styling goes, these guys nailed it the best. One thing I did, I haven't modified this one a lot yet, but I'm just tearing into it because, any good car guy can't leave well enough alone, right?
Sure.
But what I have done to this is I put the Hotchkiss total vehicle suspension setup on this car, which is actually on the Duster as well.
We had those brothers over here not too long ago in their Porsche.
Yeah.
They do some good stuff.
I think they were going to start working on like early Mustang suspensions. The word that I heard.
Yeah. Oh really?
No, because
you
they
want
don't.
One?
Yeah, I want them to do stuff, but they
pick
won't.
Cars that no one makes. So here's the deal. We don't get any deals from anybody because we somehow pick cars where there's nothing in a year one catalog for me. The Hotchkiss brothers don't make any suspension parts for your Mustang.
It's a sad state.
So it's really retarded because we could easily be getting at least some struts or some springs or some coilover something's tossed our way. We get nothing.
That's too
but
bad.
you're smart. You became a Dodge guy. This guy's buff you out.
Yeah.
You got the Hotchkiss brothers setting you up, setting your suspension up. So now, do you monkey with the motor here?
No, I'm getting ready to do that. We're going to put a blower on it, and I've been talking to a couple different companies. There's a lot of guys that have come to the market with blowers for these cars now. And you can put out, just by putting a supercharger on it, you can net like 120 to 150 additional horsepower. So I'm just trying to decide which manufacturer I'm going to go with. But just a couple of days ago, or last week, I designed these stripes for the car, and we had these red stripes put on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool too, because like what I decided to do rather than paint them is to make them out of vinyl.
Right.
Because you can put them on here,
take them off.
Yeah, if you don't like it, take it off, or just leave it like this for a few months.
Wow, looks great. Yeah,
it really kind of adds to the attitude of the car. MagnaFlow, I got a MagnaFlow catback exhaust system with quad tips on the back. And the Hotchkiss setup lowered the car, I think, about an inch, and the sway bars help it to corner real flat. And Mopar Performance they're supposed to be sending me a bunch of their stuff for it too. It's cool, man. It's fun. A lot of guys
are getting free shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
We got a deal. We got the same deal, but we have to send them money first, and then they send us a bunch.
We got some nice T-shirts from.
We get T-shirts and coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you about that blower.
Yeah.
Because I know your father-in-law, Mel Gibson, had the blower, but it was controlled by a button.
It was a lever.
Hit the lever on the shift console.
He may want to seek some advice on that blower.
Fired up. We actually saw, what's that, an Australian?
The Mad Max car?
Yeah, the Mad Max car.
That was,
the Falcon.
Falcon.
Yeah. Falcon.
Yeah. That was the part what's always sort of spitting on you. It always cracked me up where the guy pulled the lever and then it gauged a clutch on the blower or something.
Well, that guy had the whole rig set up too. We went to, I think it was the motion picture. It was a motion picture car show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so tell Mel there's a guy who's got his car who he never wants to meet, believe you me. But he has that car.
And it works though. He pulls he had it rigged up where there's like an air conditioner clutch that drives the pulley on the fake blower.
Yeah. Well, there's it's probably the same guy I saw a while back that there was a guy, I think out of Australia, that was building accurate clones of that car.
Yeah, that's a different guy. This guy, I think he got the car and did it here.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there's a guy back in Australia that is doing clones of that car, and it's like crazy money for.
No, you don't fall into this category with the General Lee, but a very sad afternoon is to walk amongst the people that have spent their hard-earned money modifying cars that aren't the real car into. And I mean, remember the chick who had like the Get Smart car?
The Tiger?
The Get Smart Tiger, except for
had a turret.
She had to have a gun turret put in, so it had to have the four-banger.
It was actually, it was a accurate reproduction of this Get Smart car with the special pop-up machine gun turret that came out of the hood. The fake radar, all kinds of stuff.
When you start hearing the story and you start looking at the carriage on the woman and you realize this is no prom queen, this is very sad. This, at a certain point when they talk about the 2,000 man hours they have tied up into this.
And money.
And how the men just in their life didn't understand. Yeah, it gets a little sad. But we digress. Kenny, before we leave, I want to give a plug for you, except for I don't have your piece of paper in front of me, but I want to tell people like where to hear your music, where to find you on tour, where they can go to buy your latest album.
Right on. So right now we're finishing up. We got 2 new albums coming out. So my very first ever live record is going to come out in the next couple of months. Probably we're anticipating September 2010. And my next brand new, all new studio record we're going to release in the first quarter of 2011.
And if people want to see you, when are you playing?
Well,
when are you touring?
constantly on tour to different varying degrees depending on what's going on with the cars because they take up a lot of my time as well.
Sure.
Gotta have those priorities set.
And my family, right? So anyways, they can go to KennyWayneShepherd.net. That's our website. It has tour dates on it. We're also on MySpace. Facebook, man. Facebook, it's like you get 5,000 friends and they won't let you have any more. So I get emails constantly. It's like, hey man, I want to be your friend.
Set up a fan page.
Well, somebody beat us to it and we're trying to make it the official fan page, but it's hard to redirect these people to that.
Yeah.
And they get kind of offended. They're like, hey man, I sent you a friend request like 6 months ago and you haven't approved me. And it's like, I got no power over that. But Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff.
I had somebody buy my name a long time ago. Like, you know, the domain stuff. Yeah, they just buy it. So you little people, Sandy, you don't know what it's like.
I got SandyGans.com.
Free parts and having your name bought by assholes in Silicon Valley. Well, Kenny Wade and Shepherd.
Want to pop the hood on this before we go?
Well, there's nothing to see here, but we started up, right?
Yeah, we should start.
Hear it.
Let's start the Dodge.
Let's start the Dodge. Yeah. We don't have the blower on it.
You know why? Because if we don't, we'll have an outcry.
Yeah, people on our show get pissed if cars don't start up.
There's also this company that sent me. You know what? If I would have had another week, there would have been some nice stuff under the hood because there's a company, a small family-owned company out of South Florida called Billet Technology, and I never have been a big fan of people putting like billet aluminum all over their car and stuff.
Right.
But they make all kinds of stuff, and they made this, this cue ball shifter, but it's flat black for me.
Yeah.
And they made that cover for, with my initials engraved in it. But they sent me these really badass valve covers to replace on my motor. They're flat black like that, engraved with Hemi and stuff. Nice. It looks like jewelry.
It's beautiful looking stuff.
Really impressive stuff. And so they're gonna outfit the engine bay. It would have been more interesting then.
The cue ball looks
Get a little
great.
audio back here.
So this thing, it really gets pretty loud when you get on the freeway, man.
Oh yeah, we got an exhaust on this thing, right?
Magniflow.
Oh yeah, right.
But when you got it in gear and there's, some torque being applied, it really sounds bad. So.
And Alco.
I gotta go with the 406.
Yeah.
That sounds good too, though.
I tell you, another plus to this car for me is because I'm a musician, I'm carrying like guitar cases everywhere I go.
Sure.
Big trunk.
And the trunk in this car is pretty cavernous, man. And if you compare it to like the Camaro, you open that up, you can barely fit like a
Space
carry-on
saver.
suitcase.
Ukulele.
There you go.
Stay with the guitar
Exactly.
motif. Yes. All right. Well, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, thanks for bringing the beautiful American muscle out here.
Thanks, man.
Really dig the vibe, and I like the fact that you drove. The idea that you drove to the Power Tour and then drove home from the Power Tour, which was as long, if not longer, than the actual Power Tour. So you actually had a Power Tour on the way to the Power Tour and another Power Tour. Jesus Christ.
It's a lot of Waffle Houses.
That's a lot of Waffle House. You must have eaten a couple Waffle Houses.
I have.
Can I say this? Worst logo ever. Just big old block, uppercase letters, like almost
like a Scrabble board.
Yeah, it's like there's not. But aren't you supposed to have little dipsy doodles or something?
How about the shape of a waffle?
Yeah, something. One of the letters should be the shape of the waffle. Use the grid or something. It's just like Waffle House. Like it's the most generic sign I've ever seen. It's no IHOP. I'll tell you that right now.
But you gotta have a Waffle House when you're there.
I know. You gotta get them to franchise out here.
Oh gosh.
We got Roscoe's,
really?
but they ain't the Waffle House.
I don't go there anymore.
You got into trouble over there?
No, it's just
too crowded.
Yeah.
All right, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, thank you very much for coming out.
Thanks, Adam.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right.